Hey there, I'm Molly Thompson from What Molly Made. Welcome back to my kitchen where we make good food that makes you feel good too. Today we are making a gluten-free angel food cake. I promise it is worth every second to make it homemade. Plus I'm sharing a few tips to make it perfect every time. Start by adding 1.5 cups of granulated sugar to the bowl of a food processor or a blender. Pulse for 10 to 20 seconds to create a super fine texture. Remove 1 cup of the sugar and set it aside to use later when we whip the egg whites. To the remaining sugar, add 3/4 a cup of gluten-free all-purpose flour. We like Bob's Red Mill or King Arthur's Measure for Measure gluten-free flour. Then add 1/4 a teaspoon of salt and 1/4 a cup of cornstarch, and pulse 5 to 10 times until the mixture is aerated and light. Set that aside and separate the egg yolks from the egg whites. Don't let a drop of egg yolk into the mixing bowl because any lingering fat could prevent the egg whites from forming peaks. I always crack the egg individually over a separate small bowl, then add the whites one by one to the mixing bowl. This way, if your yolk breaks, it doesn't break directly in the mixing bowl and ruin the rest of the egg whites. In a large bowl using a hand mixer or a stand mixer fitted with the whisk attachment, whip the egg whites and 1.5 teaspoons of cream of tartar together on medium-low until foamy, about 1 minute. Switch to medium-high speed and slowly add the 1 cup of sugar you set aside. Whip until soft peaks form, about 5 to 6 minutes. Soft peaks don't hold a stiff shape when the whisk is lifted out of the bowl. Instead, they will wilt back down into the mixture after a few seconds. Soft peaks are ideal because they'll continue to expand in the oven, whereas stiff peaks can collapse in the oven. When they've reached those soft peaks, add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract and beat that until just incorporated. Gently sift the reserved flour mixture into the egg whites in 3 additions, gently folding with a rubber spatula in between each. The goal is to retain as much of the whipped volume as possible, and pouring the dry ingredients on top all at once will deflate the egg whites. Pour and smooth the batter into a 9 to 10 inch ungreased tube pan. It's important to use a tube pan because angel food cake's special structure requires the tube pan's particular specifications. It may seem counterintuitive not to grease the cake pan, but angel food cake clings to the sides of the pan as it bakes to help it rise, and greasing the pan causes the batter to slip down the sides. So trust me when I say don't grease it. Adjust the oven rack to the lower third position and bake the cake for 35 to 40 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. Cool the cake upside down on a wire rack. You'll need to cool it for approximately 3 hours. Once it's cooled, you can run a knife around the outsides of the pan and gently tap the sides until the cake releases. The delicate texture of this cake makes it so special. It pairs perfectly with a gooey strawberry topping and a dollop of whipped cream. With only 6 main ingredients and a few special techniques, this gluten-free angel food cake whips up to be the most light and airy cake. Plus, it's naturally dairy-free too. I always keep this recipe in my back pocket for special occasions, and I hope you do too. Thank you so much for joining me in my kitchen today. If you want to keep baking with me, check out these chocolate chip pudding cookies.